Hey everyone, Maria and John here from Idaho Mountain Anglers, and you all have asked us so many questions, we decided it's about time we sit down and answer them, or have you answer them, really.
If you're new here, we talk fly fishing, bass fishing, and basically getting people into the sport.
All right, so I have a couple questions I wrote down. You ready?
Yep.
What rod weight should I be using?
So rod weights. Rod weights, good question. It doesn't have to be difficult. Don't put too much thought in this. The basic answer is a 5-weight rod. So I hope you learned something today. And
That's what I have, right? I have a 5-weight.
You have a 5-weight rod. I have 2 5-weight rods. Everybody gets 5-weight rods. It depends on what you're fishing for. And a 5-weight is kind of in between. It's not small stream fishing. It's not steelhead fishing. It's all sort of trout fishing. You can even fish with bass with a 5-weight rod. It is just that medium sweet spot.
I call it the USA Today of news. It kind of is for everyone.
If you have more than one rod weight, or you want to buy more rods for different type of fishing, you should skip a rod weight in between. A 4 and a 5 weight is not a big enough difference. And you can put a 4-weight line on a 4-weight reel on a 5-weight rod, but you're not going to see a lot of difference. So if you're fishing small streams, small fish, you could go with a 3-weight, a 3-weight reel, 3-weight line. Would you want to put a 3-weight reel and line on a 5-weight? Probably not. It's a little light. That tackle is going to be a little light for that rod, and it's going to not cast as well. So if you're going to have 2 or 3 rods, I would go with a 3, 5, and maybe a 7-weight, or a 3, 5, and an 8-weight. Your 7 and 8 weights are going to be for larger fish. You could even fish steelhead with those. You could fish bass with those, pike, different things. And the line weight gets bigger. The line gets bigger, it's heavier, and you need a bigger reel as it goes up. But the difference between a 4 or 5 and a 5 and 6 is not enough probably to own all those rods, especially when you're starting out. I think the best rod you can get when you're starting out would be a 5-weight. I would highly recommend a 4-piece rod because they're easier to break down, pack, travel with, take on an airplane. I have got a 2-piece rod, and it's just kind of a pain to pack anywhere, especially if you're going to break them down and hike in anywhere. So a 4-piece rod.
And they fit in my suitcase better too, just to let you know. All right, question 2. What does rod action mean? And these have come in, but I'm curious too.
So rod action, the best, there's fast, there's medium fast, there's medium, there's slow. It has to do with the way the rod bends under pressure when you're casting and when you have a fish on. So the best couple actions to get would be a moderate action or medium action, which is a forgiving rod. It bends almost halfway down the rod when you're casting and fighting fish, or a medium fast, which the upper 2/3 of the rod bend more than the rest of the rod. Okay, a slow rod, the whole thing would kind of flex. So it's the bend or the flex action in the rod. And when you're first starting out, I would probably go with a medium action rod or a medium fast rod. Some call it moderate action or moderately fast.
So we're basically, especially when you're beginning or a semi-beginner going into novice, you want medium for everything, like the 5-weight and then the moderate, which makes sense.
Yeah, it's more flexible in all conditions, and it's more forgiving when you're casting that rod. And those higher speed actions where it bends more in the tip, you can cast that a little bit more accurately, maybe a little bit farther, but you're not going to know the difference with these actions when you're first starting out. So learn how to cast.
So we talked about rods, we talked about rod action. So let's talk about price of rods. all different aspects, especially for a beginner and intermediate. Do you need to spend the money?
No. I just bought a new rod from the Moonshine Rod Company, and I only paid $199 for that rod. Could I have bought, do I want a $1,500 Orvis rod? Sure. Would I know the difference? Maybe, because I've been casting for 30 years. But it's not necessary, and with technology these days, what used to, like anything else, what used to be expensive, you can get less expensive now with the same type of technology. And so, look for rods, used rods on Craigslist or eBay, or you can get the whole outfit for under $100 if you want to. I also, though, that being said, am a firm believer of you get what you pay for. Okay, so, but you can get some of the brand names used for cheaper money. So you could pay up to $4,000 for a rod, or even more than that for a bamboo rod. But it's like, I compare it to like sports or golfing. You can buy an expensive golf club set, but you will not know the difference between that and a $50 set if you do not know how to swing. And that won't help you until you get to a certain point and you're proficient in the sport, such as fly casting, to kind of know the difference in the actions and for the price of the rod. And some of you may disagree with me on that, but I just don't think it's necessary to go out and spend a ton of money. I've got 5 fly rods that I spent less than the price of one expensive rod. So I can fish for different things, different conditions and everything. So you don't need to go spend a lot of money. Don't overthink that either.
With the rod, of course, you need a reel. So reel prices are the same. They go from, more expensive to cheaper. What are your suggestions? And talk a little bit about the different size reels on the rods.
You want to match your reel size to the rod size. So if you got a 5-weight rod, go out and get a 5-weight reel. Now some of the reels, such as Waterworks Lamson, our friends over at Waterworks, they make reels, and a lot of other manufacturers do too. They make reels that you can get additional spools for. So this is your reel, this is the extra spool that goes with it, and their reels in, like, say a 5+ will hold 4, 5, and 6-weight lines. So depending on what you're doing, but you don't want to overthink this either when you start now. Just get a 5-weight, what will accommodate 5-weight line, and put it on a 5-weight reel, and
5-weight rod.
5-weight rod, and go to town.
I like all the 5s. I love it. So obviously your reel needs line. Let's talk about line. What kind of line should I get?
So you just want, you can overpay for line. Good line is important, but you don't have to overthink that when you're first starting out. You're really not going to know the difference. You need to practice casting and accuracy, and you want basically a floating fly line. Lines can get in depth. They can go from weight forward fly lines, which is what I'm going to put on my new 8-weight for bass fishing, because I can turn over those heavier flies. A lot of steelhead and salmon fly fishers use weight forward lines, so they can, the weight's in the forward part of the line, and it's easier to cast out there and throw long distances and heavier flies. So, but when you're starting out, just get a regular 5-weight floating line. Put a 9-foot 5X. The theme is 5.
I like it.
5X leader. Maybe get some extra 5 or 6X tippet and go to town. And if you're wondering how to tie those on, you can watch our other video on knots.
On knots, which
we'll link it at the end of here.
So, and the great thing is to go into your local fly shop. We have so many great fly shops here in Sun Valley, Idaho, and all around the state. All around the country you can find them. go in and just be honest. If you're intimidated because you're like, well, they're selling $1,500 rods, you know, they can still guide you because they, like us, want you to get out and just get out and get hooked, as our saying goes, and start to fish. And another thing that I learned, when you buy the line from the company, they'll string it for you.
Yeah. Most sporting goods stores and fly shops, especially if you buy the line, because the line can run anywhere from 30 to 80 bucks for a spool of line. But especially when you buy the line from them, they'll put it on for free. You just have to ask them, you know. Bass Pro Shops, Cabela's, you know, Sportsman's Warehouse, and all the local fly shops will do that. Just take in your own reel. But especially if you buy a reel in line and you're getting set up, they'll string it for you. And it makes it real easy. You don't have to worry about how to put on the backing. That's a whole nother video. We won't go into that. This is just basics right now. And, you know, there's people that ask, can you, like I said, can you put a 4-weight line on a 5-weight rod?
That was probably me asking, because I did just ask you that
Yeah,
the other day.
Yeah, and you can do that, but you're not going to notice much difference until you get to a certain point. And usually you would only do, you know, a 6-weight line on a 5-weight or a 4-weight line on a 5-weight. Can you put a 7-weight line on a 5-weight? No, don't do that. That line is way too big, way too thick, and it takes a bigger reel to house those. Those large arbor reels are usually wider, and they have a, you know, bigger circumference on them to hold that much line plus the backing, and that's used for, you know, bigger fish and saltwater applications. So you don't need to, you know, mix and match lines. Just when you're starting out, match everything to the rod weight.
And today it's 555, which I love, and I love everything I bought. I have you to help me, but again, go to local fly shops. My saying in life is the answer's always no unless you ask. So ask and ask again, look online, watch other videos, especially the ones that we produce. But we just want people, like I said, to get out and have fun.
We want to make it educational for you, especially as a beginner starting out.
Actually, we come from one of the fly fishing meccas of the world. Get out, get hooked, have fun, enjoy the great outdoors, and even if it's a $50 reel and rod from the local drugstore, anything that gets you out to have fun. So, and of course, we'll do educational, we do cooking. If I'm not fishing, I'm cooking fish. We do a little bit of everything, and comments below, hit that subscribe button, and thanks for watching. And any other questions, leave them for us.
Bye. We'll see you out on the river. Get out, get hooked.
If you could, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and check out our next video. Thanks for watching.